You know, I was thinking about this the other night. I was thinking about how many years I was a pioneer in the field of popularizing nutritional supplements, nutritional medicine, herbal medicine. And many of you own my books going back to 1972. My first published book was Earth Medicine, Earth Foods, Nutrition Against Aging, Maximum Immunity, which Houghton Mifflin published and in 1986, and it has been in like 6 languages. Many people don't know that. And I realized something. Just as I was trying to awaken America to the limited view of the AMA medicine, the philosophy of the AMA doctors, this doesn't mean that they're corrupt, and it doesn't mean that they're evil. It's just that they have a very two-dimensional view of medicine. And so for many years, there was a growing awareness of this, and the alternative medical movement began. And as a result, there's been a revolution in self-care with regard to people cutting down on various foods and taking in other foods and using supplements wisely. And I'm responsible for a great deal of that, and I'm very proud of it. But the very same mindset that I brought to educating America with regard to the dangers of certain foods and the benefits of certain supplements, I have tried to bring for the last 15 years to the political discourse. In other words, Democrats and Republicans may not be evil any more than AMA doctors are evil, but they're all trapped in a limited doxy. Their viewpoints are limited, and the limitations are such that anyone who falls outside of the doxy of the AMA is called a quack, and anyone who falls outside the doxy of Republican Democrat is called, well, whatever you want to call whatever the name is, doesn't matter to me. But in fact, the very same revolutionary, if you want to use that concept, of not eating speck, not eating fat, not eating schmaltz, exercising, eating a lot of vegetables and fruits. That was considered quackery in the 1960s and 70s by the AMA doctors, many of whom, of course, themselves have come to understand that that's nonsense to call people who are in the nutritional field nuts. You have to have both lines of medicine operating at the same time, both the preventive and the Western lines of medicine. No one's arguing against surgery or medicine per se. They'd be fools to say so. But you can't exclude the values of vitamin C, vitamin E, the B vitamins. I go down the list. I'm not going to give you a whole encyclopedia right now. I've written about it for so many years. But it's the same with the political structure. If you're going to sit there and listen to a schmuck on the radio who tells you Democrats bad, Republicans good, Huckabee's great, Schmuckabee's even better, Palin is terrific, if you're going to listen to that, you're not getting anywhere. It's the same exact thing as the AMA either selling you A or B, column A or column B. And if you really want a change in America towards a real, wholesome America, an America that is pure again, an America that is somewhat natural again, an America that has pride again, an America that has dignity again, a body politic that can shake off the disease of decadence again, then you're going to have to rid yourself of the addiction of Democrat-Republican. Applause, please, because I know I deserve it. I deserve it from that little speech I just gave it to you. The very same mindset that I and many other pioneers brought to this nation going back, and there were people way before me. I can name many of them. It started long before I arrived on the scene. Some of the pioneers I've forgotten myself, but they're around. They're older than I am. I inherited some of their genius and ran with it and wrote some great books that millions of Americans bought over the years. And then I entered the world of politics on the radio in '94 quite by chance because I'd gotten so angry at what I had seen going on, the Democrat-Republican game, and I started talking about real policies and their real effects on real people. And here I am today. Borders, language, culture is my message. It's no different than my message about stop eating fat. Stop eating speck. Start eating carrots. Start eating green peas. Start taking massive doses of vitamin E, as the Shoot brothers tried to educate the people from Canada in the 1950s. They're still way ahead of everybody. They proved back in the 1950s that 800 to 1,000 units of vitamin E a day would probably prevent most heart attacks. Now, of course, there's been a concerted effort on the part of the pharmaceutical industry and doctors to prove the Shoot brothers wrong, but they're not wrong. They're not wrong any more than Dr. McCulley was at Harvard in 1954 when he discovered that if you gave rats a certain diet and you denied them certain B vitamins such as B6, they rapidly developed hardening of the arteries. If, on the other hand, you gave the rabbits, not rats, if you gave the rabbits vitamin B6 pyridoxine, you could prevent the onset of atherosclerosis. Macaulay was a genius. He was a pathologist, way beyond the shills that you see in the media today. And their studies have never been talked about to any great extent. I remember writing about this in 1983, I think, in Nutrition Against Aging. I don't even remember anymore. Most of these books are out of print. They should be reprinted, and maybe I'll do so. I mean, I did reprint Healing Children Naturally, and that book is selling like crazy because there's really not a better book about raising children from the point of view of diet and vitamins. And again, I'm not here to sell you a book. I'm here to sell you on the knowledge, the concept, the philosophy of rational medicine, which includes diet and nutrition. Same with politics. Again, it's the same exact thing with politics. What we have with guys like Newt Gingrich, with guys like Dick Armey, who, by the way, called for the Fairness Doctrine, if I remember correctly, correct me if I'm wrong, what they are the equivalent of the HIV virus inside the body politic of the conservative movement. What they do is they actually attack the defense cells that arise to fight the radical, let us say, liberals inside our blood system, if you want to use that analogy. Guys like Dick Armey mimic our defense cells by attacking them, invading them, destroying them, and then walk around inside the macrophage camouflage like Trojan horses, when in fact they are exactly what they say they're not. I can explain this to you in greater detail. See, I understand the immune system. I wrote a bestseller about it in 1986 called Maximum Immunity. And your defense system has been destroyed.
Savage.